Welcome back to T-Rex Math. Today we're going to go over checkup 3 after investigation 3, but before we do, I want you guys to look at your study plan and turn to the back page and specifically look over this section right here that I circled. So far we've built triangles. We have designed triangles given certain angles and side measurements, and we've skipped building quadrilaterals for the most part. We've done parallel lines and transversals, and we're going to skip this last design challenge as well. So in the investigation 3 is a lot shorter than the others. We've now done 3 checkups, and the ACE has been completed hopefully at home by you for extra practice, and then we're ready for our summative, which is this week. So thinking about our most recent checkup, we want to go ahead and look through the learning targets that were covered in the checkup. And so the first one we want to take a look at is the one listed, the third one down. Explore the patterns among side lengths in a polygon. So this learning target we also worked on in investigation 1. So if you want to make a note on your study plan, next to the number 1, that this is also from investigation 3. This is where we looked at what patterns in the side lengths of a triangle would make a triangle. So for example, off to my right over here, if we have a triangle with side lengths 3, 2, and 7, this would not create a triangle because the sum of the 2 shorter side lengths is 5, which is less than 7. So if this is a learning target that you feel you need more practice on, you would check off this box. If you feel like you've been working on it and you're starting to understand it better, you check in the middle. And if you've mastered it and can help teach others, you would check off this box. Go ahead also at this time and cross out symmetries. We're not going to be going through symmetry at this point in math class. And also the one right below it about polygons fitting together to cover a flat surface. Neither of those are essential. If you look at this page of your study plan, this learning target right here, reasoning about the properties of angles formed by parallel lines and transversals, this one goes with checkup 3 that we just completed. Checkup 3. Numbers 2, 3, and 4. Okay, the second, third, and fourth problem. So those are closely related to parallel lines and how they're cut by transversals and what happens to the angles as a result. The very first problem of the checkup goes along with this last learning target, solve problems that involve properties of shapes. In the first one, you had to realize that the side lengths and the angles of a parallelogram, when they're opposite of one another, they are equal. So this was from checkup 3, the very first problem. So with all of these, you want to go ahead and rate yourself as to how you feel your learning is in each of those areas. All right, so let's see how you did on the checkup 3 after investigation 3. So let's call this first problem number 1. And we know that a property of a parallelogram is that opposite sides are congruent. And also that makes opposite angles congruent. So if this is 135, then angle D would be 135 degrees. And then that being said, if 135 multiplied by 2 gives us a value of 270. We can subtract that from 360 because we know that 4 angles within a quadrilateral give us 360 degrees. So that's 90 degrees left over. Divide that in 2 because these opposite angles are also the same measure. So each of these angles, angle C and angle A, would each be 45 degrees. If you look at the second parallelogram, this is 60, so angle K would be 60 degrees, and the same idea as the parallelogram on the left. 60 and 60 makes 120 degrees. If we subtract that from 360, we get 240 degrees, and we divide that in 2, so we get 120 degrees. So J is 120 degrees, and angle L is 120 degrees. All right, let's call this second one problem number 2. And if you use what we've learned about transversals, if this is 150, it together with angle A makes 180. So if we know that, we're going to go ahead and figure out that angle A equals 30 degrees, because 30 added to 150 is 180 degrees. And if A is 30 degrees, then angle C is its opposite, its vertical angle, which is also 30 degrees. And then angle B is vertical from 150, so angle B is 150 degrees. Always checking for reasonableness to make sure if you get an obtuse measure that the angle truly then is an obtuse measure as well. Over here, if we follow the properties of a transversal, this angle L would be 150, angle N would be 150 degrees, angle M would be 30, and angle O would be 30. So noticing how opposites are congruent. And then the same would hold true for this side as well. So if I quickly fill it in, angle K would be 30, I would be 30, J would be 150, H would be 150, I add my degrees symbol, and then that would be the same over here. 150 would be vertical to 150, 30 would be vertical to 30. All right, last couple problems. So this first one here, let's call this problem number 3. If angle F is 80 degrees, again, yeah, that seems pretty reasonable according to our benchmark angles. If that's 80, then its adjacent angle would be 100 degrees. Okay, and then this would have to be 80 because it's vertical to angle F, and then H would be 100 degrees. Okay, let's just make sure that's clear. And then since we're on a transversal line again, what we just put at the bottom of the transversal would hold true for the top of the transversal because it's cutting through two pairs of, or cutting through a set of parallel lines. And then finally at the very bottom here, let's call this problem 4. Find the value of x. So we know that these two angles together are supplementary, so they add up to 180. We could also say that they're adjacent because they're right next door to each other. So we're going to set them equal to 180. And we know if we have 6 x's and 1 x, you get 7 of those. Added to 5 equals 180. Subtract 5. 7x equals 175. If we divide both sides by 7, x would be 25. So if x is 25, this acute angle would be 25 degrees, and then the obtuse angle right here would be 6 multiplied by 25 added to 5. So 6 times 25 is 150, plus 5 is 155, which looks reasonable according to the picture, because 155 and 25 is 180. This angle down here is obviously 90, and then if I know that 155 and 25 make 180. I add 90 to that, which gives me 270. Then I need to figure out what these remaining angles are. So this angle that's acute, I know also has to be 25 because it also makes a supplementary angle right here. And then if that's 25 and this one's 90, this would have to be 65 degrees. So think about how you did on each of these areas, go back to your study plan and figure out which areas you need the most practice on. Thanks for watching.